a very big proponent of stablecoins, and honestly, my prediction is that in the next 2 to 3 years, once regulation is being understood, I don't see any bank of not having its own stablecoin.
I read a bit about your bio actually, and it's pretty cool. I saw that you have work that's cited in the Nobel Prize, 2024. You know, that's I don't know what is cited, but sounds pretty good.
Yes, it's a work that I did many years ago with Elias, which is not relevant to what I'm doing now,
Yeah.
but it was about institutions and growth. So it's and the Nobel Prize this year was given to Daron, which we know each other for a very long time, and that was a quote actually, how institutions or democracy can foster long-term growth.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so you're the co-founder of XMoney Global,
Yes. Yeah.
and you used to be let me get this word right, the SUI Foundation Managing Director.
Correct. Yes. I've left this position in July. I'm still an advisor in the senior management there because I know the founders, co-founders, all the co-founders, and we are pretty good friends, and we're still, working together. But you're accurate. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and basically then now you are using that experience you've gained and X money as well to drive MiCA-compliant stablecoin and payments programs.
Yes, that's the idea. Yes.
What does that mean exactly?
Yes, that's a good question.
Because it's a loaded statement, you know.
Yes.
Okay, now
Um,
listen.
it's a very loaded, phrase, and I agree with you. So let's break it down to pieces. What we're trying to do in Next Money Global is the following: we're trying to use our, footprint in Europe, which is three regulated entities. One is an EMI, electronic money institution in Romania, and the other two are two VASP licenses, virtual assets service providers, one in Portugal, one in Estonia, and put this all together to work towards a goal, which is actually to enable crypto to grocery payments, basically. Um, Before that was quite difficult, and also I think that we are one of the very few players out there that we actually have a product in the market because there are lots of movements from PSPs to get into this market. So, for example, Stripe bought here, a bridge to issue a stablecoin. MoonPay bought Helio. So it's a matter of time that other, big players in the world, they are going to join this market. Now, what we are trying to do is on the top of that, because payments in e-commerce environments or payments for bills and stuff like that, they don't accept any volatility. So you have, let's say, a gas token. It's very difficult, to pay these bills because you never know the final price, and probably you don't want to actually use it anyways. So what we did is that we went one step further, and we are going to issue a stable coin, which is MiCA regulated, so it can be used from any European citizen, but it can also be used from anyone, any person in the globe to use it. We're going to issue three crosses: EUROX, EUROX, USDX, and RONX. RON is the Romanian currency. We have a very strong community there, which is coming from the other two co-founders, Lucian and Benjamin, which is multiverse X. So we thought it's a good idea to have like the local currency in the mix. And the application is with the Central Bank of Romania, which is one of the most competent authorities we think in Europe. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to offer tools to for people to use their crypto, make it a stable or vice versa, and start paying in the real world.
Okay, so it sounds a bit like you guys are building a very, very smart wallet.
We do have a smart wallet already, which is called, or the the group has a wallet, which is xportal.com. The wallet has 2.5 million users already. So as I said, probably we're the only ones in the world that we actually have traction in what we're doing. And that wallet also gives you the ability to, use it as a non-custodial wallet. But at the same time, if you want, let's say, to drive your crypto into your grocery, you can, issue a card instantly, store it in your Apple Pay, you start paying. So that's live. And as we grow as a footprint in Europe, the wallet also users are growing exponentially.
Okay, now this MiCA,
Mhm.
this MiCA thing, can you summarize exactly what it is and why, for example, USDT has to be delisted from exchanges?
Oh, well, MiCA is the regulation that is trying to put an order, or let's say put some rules of engagement with the crypto market. I think it's one of the very few cases that Europe actually is forward-looking relative to all the other, big economies out there. And so what it's trying to do is trying to actually put some rules in the table so everybody can use it in a safe way. There are like more than the directive is more than 105 pages, so it's a long document. But the idea is that once you want to transact or you want to participate in the crypto market, there are several rules that you have to follow, which is, of course, rules for how and where you keep the money, the reserves that you have to have in place, the transactions and where you have to report them. You have to have risk controls, AML controls, very much like any other payment method. So it goes very far in the sense that it's giving like a framework of how you can think about crypto payments and how these are related to the all the other payment methods. In a nutshell, I mean, if you have like if you are MiCA regulated, so probably you are one of these CASP licenses, which is crypto asset service providers under MiCA. So you can either be an exchange, you can either be a custodial, you can either be just a payments provider, or you can either be advisor. So these are the categories that mainly characterize this. And then based on the transactions you have, also there is a different level of capital requirements for the stables, for example, because there are three categories of assets that they pertain in MiCA. And the most important thing is, though, that depending on the size of these transactions, you have to abide into different rules. And at some point, even the authority that is relevant for you, it's not the local authority, the local competent authority as being named. It's actually BEA, Bank of European Banking Association. It gets very far.
So what you're saying is that like MiCA is this initiative by Europe to actually have a safe framework for stablecoins mainly, correct? Stablecoins in Europe.
Yes, one of the main pillars is stablecoins, so it's pushing for that direction. Yes, and also it has like a very specific way that you can do that. If you're an EMI,
So you are an advocate of this MiCA. You think it's a good thing? You think it's a step in the right direction for the EU?
yes, I do. I think it's right step for the right direction. Of course, there are so many bylaws that we have to wait and see how this is going to pertain in the real business. But at the same time, I mean, because of the lack of regulation and because of being very cautious in Europe about regulation, there are not many use cases either. So it's like you have like a directive, and now the real business has to come up, real use cases. They have to commingle and can meet somewhere in the middle because the law might be very abstract and the use cases might be very specific. So there is still work to do, but I think it's in the right direction. And honestly, I think that other main jurisdictions, mainly the U.S., will follow or try to adopt the same logic, because the logic behind it is that, if you want to issue a stable coin and this is a mean of payment, it has to have the same, let's say, or at least the same, um, uh, not restrictions, but regulation behind it as any other payment method.
And do you see that MiCA is going to promote the stablecoin euro, as in the euro, the synthetic euro, or do you think that the USD will still be the main stablecoin used in Europe?
Ah, yes, excuse me for not answering this part, which is about USDT. So USDT is cannot it has to be delisted, but it's not only USDT; it's any stable.
USDC or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And the reason is that because they don't abide into any regulation, right? So if something is not regulated, which means that it doesn't, abide in the rules and provisions of a regulation, then it's not that it's not compliant, let's say. So it might be safer for these very big organizations, which are very reputable, and I totally understand them, to start, finding ways to become, themselves compliant, or find other people or other entities, for example, like us, to face the regulators, and then act as technical providers on the back, on a fully on a fully cooperative mode. Yes, I'm a very big proponent of stablecoins, and honestly, my prediction is that in the next 2 to 3 years, once regulation is being understood, I don't see any bank of not having its own stablecoin, because it's payments. I mean, crypto is about payments, right? You bypass Swift, SIPA, all these complexities. Is so simple. It's very economic. It's very transparent, and it's very safe.
So you won't have like banks just saying we're going to use X Money's coin, for example. We're going to use because X Money has a stable coin, correct?
X Money is going to issue a stable
It's
coin,
going to issue a stable coin. So so what if banks just adopted, let's say, a stable coin that belongs to X Money? Or you know what I mean? As opposed to
yes,
creating their own.
that's the avenue that we are betting on, because we have the expertise. And usually, what happens, if you see in the payment sector, the first innovations come from the PSPs, because they have a lower, let's say, requirements relative to the regulators. They are much more niche. They have the expertise, and also they have the eager to innovate. So innovation is going to come from the PSPs. But then the next
PSP,
level,
PSPs?
PSPs is payment service providers, like Stripe, Adyen, XMoney, all these players. So these players are the ones that are going to provide the technology. And of course, that's exactly our bet, is that all the others are gonna sit on the top of that, because it's very easy for them. I mean, a bank, in order to create a new division for, issuing a stable coin, managing it, technically, supporting it. It's not going to happen, or at least it's not going to happen very easily. So the best way for them is to use the technology that has been developed already from the PSPs and adapt it.
Yes. My only thing though is my only query is this. It's I had read, and I'm probably one of them as well, that Europeans much rather use a synthetic USD versus a synthetic euro. So if, for example, you were to convert into a stable coin, a European which would much rather convert into a USD than into a euro. So do you take this into account with X money? Like, or is this even a talking
Yes.
point at all? Because like 99% of people use USD, so why bother innovating on euro kind of thing?
I agree with you in principle, and what happens is that until now, because exactly we didn't have the regulation in Europe, people were using these synthetic or stables for transactions that probably they were facing entities outside the European Union. So there, as we know, the international currencies, or one of the international currencies, or the biggest one, is dollars. So that's why they were using this. My anticipation is that as we increase the use cases within the European Union, the use of the euro stable coins is gonna explode.
You think it's going to explode?
Yes, yes.
What does that even mean?
it means that it's much cheaper to transact into a stable coin than transacting through any other source. So if for example, if merchants start accepting payments, the first thing they're going to do, because this is what we face in XMoney, right? XMoney has, as I said, it's one of the very few entities out there that it has a widget that can accept crypto payments in 34 different currencies. But the first thing that the merchant says is, okay, in what I'm getting settled. Am I getting settled to euros? Am I going to getting settled in something else? So now the currency of settlement is still euros, even if you pay with a crypto. So you cannot benefit, end to end from this, instant settlement that stable coins can offer. Once the merchants understand that, okay, I'm going to get paid in euros, euro stable coin, then the whole market is going to change because
They're
everybody will
happy.
accept. Exactly.
They're
Because
happy.
you're going to have instant settlement with minimal cost that now it's like several, not even basis points, it's several, percentage points. And the biggest benefit is instant settlement. I get the money now, not in
Exactly.
2 days or 3 days or 15 days.
And it's actually real. It's true. Like
Yes,
it's a true coin. You don't necessarily know that the euro I've received in cash is not a fake piece of paper.
exactly.
So you have more credibility with a stable coin,
Exactly.
basically. So you think this is Europe's next phase to improve, let's say, the economics everywhere? Because I read Germany is doing badly, and the economy in general is like 50% of the production in America, so it's slumped. So you think like if we improve our crypto dinosaur feel, you think Europe can become a much bigger player in crypto currently?
That's a great question. And I like the way that you connect it. I think that Europe has to do much more in the blockchain technology because it's a technology at the end of the day, right? So, and we as let's say innovators, we have to give the technology the right use cases or explain to the economy how it can be used to save fees, save time, become more efficient. So it can definitely be one of the elements that can push forward innovation because that's where we are lagging in Europe relative, let's say, for in US. We have to become more innovative, and not only in blockchain but also in AI, in biotech, in many other, areas that, we have to push the frontier and become ourselves more innovative because, research shows that in the very long term, the only two things that play a role in the growth or the differentiating growth between, two regions, cities, countries, continents, it's innovation and education. So
Exactly.
these two things. So we have definitely, blockchain is a new technology. We have to use it in the right way to innovate the use cases that is going to use them and, push forward the frontier. Now, in Europe, we do more than 5 trillion transactions. Imagine paying every year from 0.2% to 1.8% to Visa and Mastercard. How much money can we save if we instead of paying this, we pay like 0.1 cent?
I think it's just a cost which people have accepted as tax. It's part of it. 1.23% tax. I have to part with 1.23% tax.
Yes.
And now the realization that, listen, this stable coin just arrived in my account. It's on my own dashboard at home. It's not even in my main bank account. So it already feels much better than I already have currently with my bank account. So I'll probably be asking for stablecoin instead of real euro kind of thing, moving into the next 4 years. Because I think the rollout does take 4 to 8 years until Europe will transition.
Yes. You're absolutely right. And just to come back in the previous point, which is I liked it a lot the way that you put it. Imagine how much innovation can be done in KYC using blockchain. In all these frictions that we have, but they are necessary. I understand. Yes, of course we have to know what the heck is going on. For example, we have a travel rule in with MiCA, which is an amazing way to know where this transaction is coming and where it's going. But you can go one step further. So there is going to be an innovation in KYC. There's going to be an innovation in UX, environments. There's going to be an innovation in, things that, now they are pain points that they take like forever to identify, authenticate, and, verify a very simple transaction with uh, you know, uh, between two participants. And what if we also talk about the next level, which is, AI agents, because blockchain is not a technology that is between for humans to interact with machines. It's for machines interacting with machines, resolving a trust issue.
You think
So
that you think it's mainly for machines to interact with machines?
of course, because at the end of the day, this is what it's interacting. It's interacting, the back end of XPay, or XMoney, excuse me, is interacting with the backbone of a chain. So it's like between machines, right? There's no human. The human takes the benefit, and that's what we should do. But we had to resolve the trust issue. Is X money Greg's account that is sending the money to, let's say, Andrew, can be verified without an intermediary. We're paying banks for the last 1,000 years. We're paying banks to do exactly that.
So what you're saying is before you would have to outsource trust to the bank. And now you can assume that trust is inbuilt within the stablecoin.
Exactly. That's the biggest benefit of this
So
is,
what so how much of a problem solved is that?
it's
Like
a huge
it's a
problem.
huge one, you know.
Yes, because decentralized blockchain is the nature of blockchain is trust.
Exactly. Yeah.
Trust which cannot be manipulated, because even now, and we have so many cases in the history, in the banking history, of cases where somebody called up and I opened an account, I did a transfer, I gave a loan, I didn't get paid for the loan. I mean, machines, it's a smart contract, and if X and Y and Z is verified, the transaction is going to go through. If it doesn't go through.
Yeah.
So it's a level up actually of trust in the system.
Completely. And now, and I think what's cool about it is now the fact that I don't need to worry about that trust element because I know it's inbuilt within the transaction, that leaves a lot of space for more innovation because you can build based on this like fundamental assumption that trust is inbuilt within whatever we're doing. So what
Exactly.
can we do now that we've gotten past trust?
Exactly.
That's why it's exciting. So if I look at X Money, for example, X Money to me now sounds like a hybrid into this new world where it is introducing, let's say, this way of being into Europe. But
Yes, that's
does MiCA does MiCA stifle innovation in any way? Because we don't necessarily need a MiCA. This is my or you. I know I asked already, and you said that you're on board with it. But just maybe some clarification of X Money and how it believes like MiCA is necessary for us to get to that new explosion,
well,
like you said.
yes, that's a great question, because it goes deeper in what exactly MiCA offers in their current environment. And as we discussed before, it's all about trust, right? Because a banking system or any system, if it doesn't have trust, it's not being used. It's trust. So what MiCA is trying to do is in something very new. It's trying to build trust even for my grandmother to use it. That's the whole point. Because if this trust is not being built, nobody's going to use the technology because it's going to be afraid of it.
Yeah,
And that, of course, yes, you might have to follow some rules at the end of the day, which is the gating rule. Okay, when you go and you cash your crypto, someone there has to do some checks. So we make sure that we have kept our we have kept real to our expectations in terms of who is who and where the money are coming from. Because let's be honest, we haven't done a lot of good ourselves on the crypto society with all the things that we are transacting in the last 10 years. So on that sense, and on the sense that it's gonna be it's gonna build trust to the to the people that they don't have any understanding of this market, it's good to have.
Exactly. So
Of
I
course,
was,
like we said,
I'm basically, I think the question I asked it again because I'm skeptical towards MiCA. You know what I mean? I see MiCA as like this entity, but actually, from the way you're explaining it, it's a necessary middleman to have to actually get more people on board and to do it in a safer manner. Okay, so now my other question falling on MiCA is, does it help the case for Bitcoin also?
well, Bitcoin has, I think, its own life right now because since we or some very large authorities they uh, consider it as an asset where I can store value, where I can use it to exchange, and I can use it to transfer money between time, which is there are the three criteria of having like an asset or a liquid asset or a currency. Bitcoin has its own life right now. I think it's beyond. I mean, it's beyond the understanding of people that you have something that is not controlled from anyone, and this something pertains value, and it's a great breakthrough in terms of usage of Bitcoin in everyday life. I'm more skeptical because Bitcoin it doesn't have the speed, it doesn't have the cost, it doesn't have like things that we need to have like in everyday life. But um, there are other technologies out there like SUI, for example, which is super fast, or multiverse X. They're super fast, scalable, and they can do the job. So I think that the fact that Bitcoin has this recognition is very important for the entire ecosystem. Now, the stable coins,
Has
what
what?
they're gonna
Has what recognition?
it
You said
has
it's very important. It has this recognition. What recognition?
the recognition that
Everything that you've been saying. Exactly.
yes, that is an asset class. So what
Exactly.
stables will do is the following. Actually, they will open up participation in this in this asset class by itself to more people.
Yeah.
Because Andrew, I mean, the crypto world is like 100,000 people, 1 million, 100 million. But what about the other 8 billion?
Yeah. Exactly.
So are we going to make the discussion relevant to the 8 billion, or keep this within the 100 million? Because you understand that if we open up this technology to 8 billion, and the way to do that is through the stables, I mean, sky's the limit, right?
True. It's amazing that you're actually saying this because it just makes me think how early we still are. Because
Yes.
because when you would log into Poloniex to buy a coin years ago, you wouldn't know what you needed to do. You would have
No.
to buy Bitcoin and then use your Bitcoin to buy the coins. I think what's going on is something similar, just next phase. Like if you want to enter a country or a continent like Europe, then you need to make it so that they can buy in stablecoin because it's just easier.
Yes.
But then
And also, if you
my next question is on XRP. What do you think of XRP? The use case behind it and all this kind of stuff.
XRP is going in the right direction in the sense that it's trying to use this new technology to exactly create like a transfer method between any part of the world, which is a huge pain. And us living in Europe, we don't understand that because we have instant payments, instant that SEPA after 20 years, but we have it. Or we have like the SEPA transfer system, or have. But imagine somebody that is in Africa and wants to send money in Europe. Impossible, and cost 12%. So
Western
XRP,
Union.
if you want to send money from an African country into Europe, it's not very easy
It's not easy.
because there is no banking system. The banks, then you need like 17 different counterparties to
It's
agree,
primitive. It's primitive if you think about it.
and very expensive.
It's
People don't
quite.
have access.
It's
It's
like
crazy.
a.
Yesterday, I was in a firm that is doing an amazing, it's called the Harbor Labs, and what they do is they calculate a ship that is going to a dock, how much money it has to pay into the authorities, local authorities. You cannot imagine the complication. It's not like harboring in Piraeus or Amsterdam. Let's go. You go to Ghana. or you go to some other, Somalia, or
Stable coins solve this. Crypto in general solves this. In general,
exactly,
solves this.
exactly, because it's decentralized, it's transparent, and it's cheap. We don't have to ask somebody clerk to verify that I'm Greg. Yeah, yes, I am. Yeah, this is my ID. This is my blockchain, my KYC. Do it, do the
Yeah.
payment. That's it.
So what's crazy is once I think the growing pains, which will take I think 4 to 8 years of this, for people to learn about stable coins and to really trust whatever we're talking about now. Once you actually open the portal between Africa, Europe, Africa, and wherever else, America, can you imagine what Africa might become?
Well, I can because Africa is like a huge continent. It has 800 million people. It has one of the fastest growing countries in the world in terms of population, like Nigeria. Which is already 100 million, and we're opening up the doors into a continent that has the highest concentration of raw materials that
X
we need
money
for.
X money is opening up.
Xmoney wants to open up there the rails, but we need, of course, to be careful with the local authorities in terms of regulation. But our one of the areas we want to expand is Africa, and the next one is Latin America. We are already in the process of obtaining a license in Bahrain to penetrate the MENA region and west of southwest of Asia. But that, yes, our goal is that.
Excellent. Um, I would like to ask a question on SUI.
Yes.
Uh, is SUI related to this conversation at all? Because I'm seeing now the smart contract that group being Ethereum, it's Algorand,
Solana.
it's Solana, it's Cardano. Um, I don't know what else there is. Small ones like Tezos that I know do smart contract technology, but I don't know how active they are. My question is SUI. SUI feels new, but for some reason it's flying. Why is it flying? So
Well, SUI is new in the sense of years in the market, but SUI, what it did is it did something very innovative. It changed the way that we are, transacting with the chains because it is a very big step forward to solve, basic problems that we had with the chains. For example, throughput, speed, finalization. So in terms of technology, it's actually, I think, the state of the art right now. And going forward in the future, okay, we might end up not with one chain because I don't believe that there's going to be one chain that is going to take over the entire world, but it's going to be 10. But it's going to be one of the 10 for sure.
and
So
I
tech
think
wise,
sorry for interrupting.
no, please.
No, I was just thinking how Trump getting memed, basically. It's almost as if to me now Solana is the place you go to if you are a superstar, Cristiano Ronaldo, who wants to go and meme himself, you go to Solana. If you want
It's not.
another thing, you go to Algorand. If you want another thing, you go to Ethereum. If you want another thing, you go to SUI. Is it like that?
Uh, yes, you can think of it because depending on the use case, it's not one shoe fits all. Depending on the use case, you have to have a different, let's say, infrastructure. And so SUI is, I think, I think it's the best infrastructure if you want to create like a unified layer for financial assets because it's fast, it's secure, it's scalable, and at the same time, its interoperability is with all the other systems is next to none. So if you want to do something in finance payments, the infrastructure it's a natural, let's say, choice for infrastructure.
Can you give me a practical example? Because what I'm struggling to
Yeah.
understand now is we're early for sure. And obviously the technology that is required to make that jump in innovation to real use case apps, let's say, the Facebook in 2008 and that kind of stuff, to see that kind of growth, obvious growth, we need to see some practical stuff where it's gonna help the individual. Aside
Yeah.
from stable coins, I can transact. That's old technology to me now. But like, what what is SUI doing that practically can help people improve their life in some way?
Okay, two ways. I'll give you two examples of applications which I think they are the best fit for SUI. Three actually. One is gaming, right? My son is playing, Fortnite, and he wants to buy a power up. I mean, it has to happen, instantly. Otherwise, he will be, he will be pissed off, right? So you need instant execution, very fast, and also everything has to be an NFT, which is exactly what SUI is. SUI, everything is an object. So an object is, let's say, the player. An object is the weapon. An object is, the his points. So everything can be inside the same smart contract. It's very cheap, and it's also, it has this notion of dynamic NFTs as well. So you can keep changing the state of this NFT. So you will tell me, okay, but this is not in everyday life. Yes, let's go to the other two. The next second is DeFi. DeFi is super big, right? Sui has 2 billion NFT, sorry, DeFi sector, which is very dynamic, and I think it's the next big thing also for finance. And DeFi will be regulated. It's a matter of time because there are lots of transactions happening there, and this sector is going to revolutionize the way that we are doing finance. It will be regulated, but it will be regulated in a way that innovation will not stop. So people understand that you have to keep the innovation running. SUI is very good. Why? Because it's very cheap there. So I do a transaction, and I do a trade in a perpetual, and it costs me nothing, and it's fast. And with its new application, which is Walrus, which is a storage, it's like the Amazon of crypto. You can also store things very cheaply. Third application is what we're doing in XMoney, for example, payments. I mean, if you go, for example, in the supermarket and you want to pay, you need speed. I mean, right now, the time when you tap your card, the time that passes for the transactions to go through the existing networks, it takes 1.2 seconds at least, because it might take more. When you do a transaction with SUI, it takes zero point 0.6 seconds. So it's two times faster. So for applications that they go and they face the consumer and they have to be executed immediately, instantly, it's I think the best technology out there, and that's what I think the market is pricing in, which is if the world is moving into the stable coins and to getting closer to the consumer, then the best technology to touch has to be the one that can serve all these restrictions, which is being fast, cheap, and safe.
So what you're saying is basically SUI is new technology that has learned from its competition, Ethereum, and all those, and now its product is very clean.
Yes, the
Summarize it in
yes,
a bit of a vague way.
it hasn't learned in the sense it hasn't learned many things, but it has resolved a lot of things by going one step further. For example, it parallelizes, this does this parallelization of transactions. So two transactions that are not related. So if I send you money and you send money, let's say, into your let's say sister or brother or your mother, these two transactions are independent, so they can happen at the same time. You don't have to timestamp them. So this parallelization, the idea is very simple. It's what we do with VMs, right? If you need more computing power, you just add VMs, virtual machines.
Mhm.
And the main thing that SUI has is not only speed but throughput. The
But
fact that you can do a lot of transactions at the same second. Because if you try to do this into other chains, they will blow up. Especially the ones that are EVM based, they're a disaster. You will get all the instability
you're
of the
talking
world.
about Ethereum here.
I'm talking about all the chains that they're trying. What they do, they're trying to resolve that by doing fractionalizations, subnets, all sorts of things. To reduce, because at the end of the day, you have to go down to the same chain, right? So we are trying to reduce or organize better the transaction on the second level, but at the end of the day, you'll go down to the same chain. So what SUI doesn't have that. In SUI, you can parallelize forever, and you have the people that they built SUI, they built it for 1 billion users. They didn't build it for 100,000 users. This is what I'm trying to say. So it's stable and it has a lot of throughput, real throughput. I send 1 million transactions or 200,000, 300,000 transactions, and these are executed. The system doesn't collapse. And this, we're going to see it a lot in the future. So the chains that we know now, when they start having real world, applications, they will have a lot of problems if they haven't resolved that in the core. Because now, okay, I buy a meme coin, fantastic, but it's offshore, offline, this transaction. I can do it now, I can do it if it doesn't work, I can do it 10 minutes later. Doesn't matter, right? But if I'm going to buy milk, or let's say I'm trading, it has to happen now. Otherwise, I will lose my money.
Or as quick as possible to get in before the same guy that put a price that's same as me.
Exactly.
Which
So
is
you need
obviously a
speed.
use case. It's a use case. It's a
Exactly.
use
So you
case.
need speed,
Exactly.
throughput, security,
And
and
brand.
also to be very cheap. Otherwise, it's not competitive. Everybody will still keep using, the schemes or some other,
But then my
paper.
question to you is this: since following this space, every year it seems like there's this new smart contract blockchain that is better than everything else. There's this new one that is better than the previous, which is understandable, because for example, the electric cars before we had, I think, three or four, we had about 800 different car manufacturers producing cars, So I understand that there's a rush to get the best smart contract, but do you think that it's going to keep on like next cycle we're going to have Nui or whatever, just
Yeah.
something that's replicating Sui, but it's better than Sui. Because then that eats its own, you know what I mean? It eats progress.
Yes, that's a very good question, but that's the let's say the virtue of science, right? Because all the people they are behind SUI, they're scientists. So science is, if something gets, improves something else, it's fine. I mean, it's good. It's good for the humanity and for the entire ecosystem. But still, even today we have let's say aluminum wheels. We still have the idea of the wheel is dating back in the initial one. So if somebody comes and improves the technology, this is, I think, it's good. I mean, if it comes and also disrupt, it's also good. I mean, I don't see any. Well, to put it differently, because I know where you're coming from. You're saying, okay, Greg, but if every time I have to change technology, I mean, this is a pain.
Exactly.
Um, yes, I understand. But
Exactly.
here, what I may add is the following: is this technology that we have adaptable? Because if it's adaptable and somebody builds on that and makes it better, then that's great because you adopted a stack, and this stack it might get better, but the stack, the main, let's say the frame or the basis remains the same, but you can become better. The issue would be if the whole stack is scrapped, because then you have to start from the beginning.
Which is not the
And
case.
which is not the case. I think for the next at least 10 years, the guys have done a remarkable job.
Excellent.
And honestly, let's be honest. I mean, we discussed that in the beginning. Still, we don't have, and you are very right on that. We don't have the use cases, the global use cases that they will dictate the robustness, safety, and scalability of the chains yet.
Yeah. Exactly. Um, Greg, this is very interesting, this conversation, and I enjoyed it a lot. I'll close with, let's say, one last question. And what should investors and developers focus on as MiCA continues to shape the market?
Developers. I mean, they have to engage into projects so that they see they try to develop things that are going to become relevant to the end user
Yeah.
first. And of course, this is for the ones that they are interested for applications or applying things. The developers that they are interested for innovating. I think there is a lot of space to innovate right now because, as I said, there are so many things that they will be there is going to be a need for resolvement that it's a great space. For example, custody, key management on custody, KYC. key management on KYC, methods of interoperability, how we can interoperate the systems between different regions or different, identities, different languages. So sky is the limit. I mean, now I think we have just opened the Pandora's box. People don't understand that, a new regulation, when it resolves, as you very correctly said, the trust level, then you can do so many things on top of it. You can build all the other stack for the entire economy to get into there. In terms of investors, I think the investors are super smart. They should invest definitely in any application that is using blockchain infrastructure, stable coins, and AI, because that's our next big development in next money. We're going to bring AI powered payments as well, which is combining you know AI agents in order to be able to transact, and also not only transacting in the sense we exchange like a good, but also pay for a service or something like that. So we are now researching that angle as well, and hopefully we will be the first ones in the world to enable such payments.
Amazing. That's very good to hear.
Thank you.
Um, really nice speaking with you. Well done on everything. And
Thank
I would say that my MiCA apprehension against it is more or less gone. I think it's necessary now. I think MiCA is necessary for stable coin adoption, not even Bitcoin adoption, stable coin adoption in Europe. And as you are open to the stable coin synthetic euro or synthetic USD, then automatically you're on the system. You know what I mean? You can stay in stable coin, which is fine, but you're automatically on the system.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Greg, for this meeting, and maybe in future we can talk more about how it's doing.
Anytime. I really enjoyed the talk, and anytime I'm going to be here. And as I said, there are some great, credible, incredible news that are coming out. Happy to discuss about them once we announce them, and be the first one to know about it.
Amazing. Thank you very much.